Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are still working on King Lear, and we get to hear a little bit more of King Lear's craziness today from Act 4, Scene 5, as it is known in the folio, Act 4, Scene 6, as it is known in other versions of the play. So what has happened at the beginning of this scene, Gloucester had Edgar lead him to the top of a hill, or at the top of a cliff in Dover so that he could jump off of it because he wanted to die, but Edgar didn't want his dad to die, so he had him like step off of a ledge that was this high, whatever, and then he pulls the, oh my gosh, it's a miracle that you survived that incredible big fall, and then Lear comes in and he's mostly talking nonsense, and Gloucester's trying to make some sense out of it and trying to reconnect things, and he's like, wait a second, I know that voice, isn't that the king? And yesterday Lear was like, yes, I am the king, and went into all of this stuff about how all of the things that were supposedly bad may not be, and like he sort of followed the rules the whole time and it didn't yield him the happy ending that he thought it would. So screw the rules, screw law, screw trying to live the proper life, all of that sort of thing. And Gloucester's still sitting there and he's got no eyes, and Lear's making some jokes about having no eyes, but Lear kind of has a point. He's like, you have all of these other senses, you should use them, like listen to that conversation over there, that guy's a thief, that guy's the judge, switch them around, and who's the good person and who's not, and like you've seen a dog bark at a beggar, right? And Gloucester's like, yeah. And Lear says, and the creature run from the cur? There thou mightst behold the great image of authority, a dog's obeyed in office. Thou, rascal beetle, hold thy bloody hand. Why dost thou lash that whore? Strip thine own back, thou hotly lust'st to use her in that kind for which thou whipst her. The usurer hangs the cozener. Through tattered clothes great vices do appear, robes and furred gowns hide all. Place sins with gold, and the strong lance of justice hurtless breaks, armed in rags, a pygmy's straw does pierce it. None does offend. None. I say none. I'll able 'em. Take that of me, my friend, who have the power to seal the accuser's lips. Get thee glass eyes, and like a scurvy politician, seem to see the things thou dost not. Now, pull off my boots. Harder so. So again, this is a moment of Lear being like, in his crazy, he's a little bit the truth teller. There's a couple lines in here which are frighteningly true in today's political climate, and it's striking to me that they were true back in his political climate over 400 years ago. Also, it shows you how little things actually change, and maybe speaks to why these plays are still so relevant. But the whole bit about vices being more apparent in poor people than they are in rich people, and that if you cover up your sins in something sparkly and pretty, then justice can't touch you. But if you can't do that, then the slightest little pinprick will show everybody that you're a bad person. And that's frightening. It's frightening that it's true. People with a lot of money and a lot of power often get away with a lot more than those that don't have it. So King Lear finishes it off by saying, if you have glass eyes, you'll see just as well as any of our politicians, because they don't actually see things. They interpret things the way that they want to interpret them. And just after this, he says to Gloucester that he recognizes that he is Gloucester, and they get to have a little moment of reconciliation. And Lear's like, I'm gonna tell you some important things, and like, it's okay to cry. We come into this world crying, and it's kind of a mess, but we can still get our revenge and stuff like that. And then some soldiers come in, because if you remember, Cordelia was going to send some of her French soldiers to get Lear because she's very concerned about him. She knows that there's a hit out on him. Essentially, there's people that want Lear dead, so she wants to get to him first so she can keep him safe, because she's also heard that he's not quite right in the head right now. So these soldiers show up, and Lear takes it as an attack, as one would, because he doesn't he doesn't think that Cordelia still cares about him. So, and he doesn't necessarily know that they're Cordelia's soldiers. He just sees soldiers showing up to take him, and he's like, what, is nobody gonna stand up for me? Nobody's gonna back me? Like, this is just me by myself? I'm a king. Does nobody recognize that? And the soldiers are like, yes, we know that you're a king. And he's like, haha, then I still got some life in it. And he goes running away, and the soldiers have to go get him. That's not quite the end of the scene, but that's where we're going to stop with this today, because we get to hear a little more from Edgar tomorrow, and Edgar and Gloucester get back to a little bit more of the moment that they were having, and we also get some interesting news to finish out the end of the scene, so we'll get into that tomorrow. But yeah, I will see you then for that. Mwah.